Everybody, welcome to the Why Ukraine live stream. As usual, 30 minutes late. Coming to you live from Ukraine. If you weren't sure, I'm in Ukraine. Where are you going to see something like that? Can you see that behind me? It's an icon of St. Nicholas. That's right, Santa Claus. So it's a painting, and then the entire painting is surrounded by fake gold. Like it's, I don't know what you call it. Whatever, the brass. I guess that's brass. But it's supposed to look like gold. And yeah, pretty interesting. And orchids. Hello, Mark. Thanks for coming in. So had pretty strange. I had some serious problems with the streaming software today. I'm not sure what the problem is. Could be something to do with my login. Catherine, good to see you. Good to see you. I just need to check and make sure that I'm trying to see if I'm live on Facebook as well. I mean, I should be. But you never know. Let's just see here. So we have some real interesting things to talk about. I'm cutting my live streams down to twice per week. I think that's good. It doesn't interfere with my classes. I teach English, as you guys know, here in Ukraine. And that, kind of has to be my first priority. I feel like it's, for right now, it's the most important thing I do. But, okay, it looks like I'm up and running. Yeah, I was a little bit concerned today with regards to, looks like I'm live on Facebook as well. Fantastic. So this is good. This is good. I had to log in from like 3 different profiles to make this happen today. So something strange is going on, but there we are. All right. KK's GG. Thank you for coming, Mitch. Everybody, it's a pleasure to see you all. It's been a few days, and so we have a lot to talk about. A lot of very, very interesting things. So before we get into it too much, let's talk about the good news. Yeah. So for the first time since the war started, the sky in eastern Ukraine is clear of fighters. Thanks for coming. Yeah. It's amazing. It's beautiful. There's a lot of speculation about why, but I think it's just that they finally moved. Last one. Good to see you. They finally moved to the Patriots closer to the border. They finally got enough air defense around the major cities to feel confident that they could move 1 or 2 of those Patriot systems closer to the border. So that's what happened there. Other things, guys. So it's still Tuesday in America. Super Tuesday, as they say. Is anybody watching the polls? Do we know? I mean, we know. We know what's happened. At least on a national scale, we know what's happened, what's happening. I wanted to make a video about, I think Trump might be the Antichrist. But somebody beat me to it, so I'm linking this one to you guys on my community tab. And there's actually a couple of them, and I'm gonna keep sending it out there because, yeah. I'm sorry, Catherine, you had to hear him speak. I've said this before, but I just remember distinctly. I have a distinct memory sitting in the uh, cafe when I was still working at NASA when Trump got elected the first time, and we were all there, all me and all the freaking scientists and engineers at NASA. It was a NASA Ames Research Center, and everything, we were all happy, and then I thought, oh, the election is done. I think it was about 9 p.m. maybe California time. The election's over pretty much. Maybe it was earlier than that, but I said I'm going to ride my bike home, and I took kind of a long way home, you know. But by the time I got home, somehow everything had flipped, and I was completely shocked. And the next day at NASA, man, like, you've never seen a bunch of sadder scientists than on that day, November 2016, man. Like, and say what you want about Space Force, but still. So anyway, so let's move on from the Great Orange One. We know what's happening there. I thought this was pretty funny. Levels of human stupidity should be measured in elons. I like that. That's catchy. I mean, because if you think about it, you could have positive and negative elons, right? Because let's face it, Elon is or was a genius, and now he's turned into an evil genius. But there we are. I think it's good. I mean, it's terrible. That's what I mean. Haley, wow, winning in Vermont. That's great. If Trump goes to jail, will Haley be the candidate? If we know that the Supreme Court is, the Supreme Court's backing Trump. This is from yesterday, or I guess 2 days ago now. Basically, the Supreme Court declared that states cannot remove Trump from the ballot. So I just, Midas Touch has a good riposte to the Supreme Court argument. Like, there's nothing in the Constitution. Hang on. Go back. There's nothing in the Constitution to say that Congress has to pass a law disqualifying the candidate. All it says is shall not be. If they have been involved in insurrection after they've taken an oath of office, they can't run. This is a real thing. This is, Cheryl, you said the Supreme Court is afraid of Trump. Our entire judicial system is afraid of Trump and his little army of fascists. That's really what's happening here. The prosecutors are afraid to prosecute him because they don't want to spend the rest of their life getting death threats. We know this to be the case. This is America goose-stepping its way to fascism. And arguably, it's been going that direction for a long time. Okay, to be honest. And I have to explain this to Ukrainians, my students, almost every day, because they're coming to me. We can't focus on English when all this shit's happening. I'm just like going, they're like, James, what the hell's going on with America? So That's what's up there. So, yeah. It's the Democrats, and I would say liberals in general, have relied for too long, at least since the 80s, on the courts to solve every problem, um, and not focusing enough on like state elections, for example. Yeah, certainly since Reagan, probably since Nixon. Yes, KK's GG. That's right. I believe that. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Cheryl, we're looking at insurrection. You know, that's we're looking at a fascist takeover um, of America. We're staring down the barrel of it. You know, and sadly, Ukraine is just caught in the crossfire of that. It's crazy. It sucks. It really sucks that Ukraine is like the sacrificial lamb on the altar of American democracy, essentially. There we are. Okay. I know that we're gonna keep coming back to this. We're gonna keep circling back to this, so it's fine. Um, Now we know, of course. I don't know what order do I want to talk about these things today. The Germans. I wanted to talk about this about the Germans giving away secrets um, about Ukraine, about missiles and what have you. Here you go. Here's another link on my community page about Trump being the Antichrist. I just want you, because I like this particular video right here. I mean, I like it and I don't like it. I like it because it uses the Bible. So it's using Bible verses to show why Trump is the Antichrist. And so if you have someone in your family, in your life, who is evangelical Christian and who believes in Trump, who likes Trump, send them this video. Okay, why evangelicals are blinded to Trump being the Antichrist, and it goes through Bible verse after Bible verse, just the way those people love to do, the way I used to love. That was the only thing I believed in as a child was the Bible. Yeah, Trump is a golden idol. Yeah. You know. Okay. There's so many things to talk about today, guys. I want to talk about this whole German thing with WebEx, right? So I'm sorry. I mean, I was a Cisco, technician. Yeah, you're right. Um, and I'm sorry to say I did not vote in the primaries, but I will be voting in the the national election. I'm gonna try, since I changed my address registration to Mississippi, of all places. That's where I'm registered now, I think. I'm not sure if I'm registered in California or if I'm registered in Mississippi now. It's a mix-up, but I'm going to try and switch everything over to Mississippi. I've never set foot in Mississippi, not once in my life, but that's where I'm registered because it's where my father lives. Yeah, I'm going to vote in the general election, Mark. Yeah, because I'm trying to vote in a place like I mean, it's great to just vote, but voting in California, or like in Silicon Valley, where I was registered, or in the parts of California where I was registered, doesn't really make a difference because everybody there is voting Biden. But voting, you know, let's not just say Democrat, let's say pro-Ukraine. Voting pro-Ukraine in a place like Mississippi. I would prefer to vote in a true battleground state, but I don't think I can legitimately do that. I can't just pick what state. I'm not sure, Cheryl, if I can do that. Like, I have to have a registered address, based on my bank accounts and all of that. I think. I mean, that's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, Arizona would be a big one. Kirsten Sinema has dropped out of the Senate race, and she was a traitor. And so that's, you're right, Cheryl. That is a definite. I'm just not sure if I can vote there. If I can, that would be a good place. But I think it would involve like changing all my bank accounts, and I don't have anyone there who I could trust to collect my mail anymore in Arizona. Yeah. So the real question is, will Trump be convicted before the election? And what's going to happen when Trump gets, can he still even participate in the election if he's on
This is a breaking news alert.
Sorry. If he's on the if he's on the ballot and he's in jail, you know what I mean? Like, can that happen? The problem is, right, that he's stacked the Supreme Court. Okay. For those of you who are in Australia or whatever, I've had to, I've been teaching this all week to my students about like what's going on. So here's our list of, current Supreme Court justices. So this guy, his wife is, basically working on the Trump campaign. Her name is Ginny Thomas, and she was directly involved in January 6th, and continues to claim that Trump is the rightful president, so he really needs to be, he should be recusing himself from any Cheryl, you'll collect my mail for a good cause? I might take you up on that. That's not a bad idea. But yeah, so no, actually he should be impeached. Clarence Thomas should be impeached. Yeah. Really. There's a lot of things that he's been doing that are clearly a violation of ethics. I don't need to go into them right now. We basically, as far as let's say pro liberal leftists, there's two out of 9. And the reason, I'm sorry, 3. I forgot about Jackson. But the problem is, these 3 were appointed by Trump, and that was deliberate. They're really, Neil Gorsuch, his position should have been appointed by Obama, and the Republicans, not just at the Supreme Court level, but at all federal and even state court levels, have been blocking appointments by the Democrats. Yeah, and McConnell arguably cheated, you know, to block this appointment. We should have 4 solid liberals on the Supreme Court, and and that's the way it's always been for, I mean, as long as I've been alive, you know. But now the court leans so heavily to the right, and 4 of these Supreme Court justices basically worship at the temple of Trump. And they'll, Tony, holy crap, you're here. Tell us, I wasn't sure if I should talk about where you are or what you're doing, Tony, because I don't fully know, but it's very interesting. I'll let you, if you want me to tell people, insofar as I'm aware, of course, I will. Let me know, and I'll talk about it. Yeah. So, yeah, Tony is in Ukraine. He's in the Georgian Legion, guys. Yeah. So, okay. So he was supposed to be sent to Avdiivka, and if you guys if you don't know where Avdiivka is, you know, I mean, not actually Avdiivka, I guess, but the area around what was Avdiivka. So we can take. Oh gosh. Let's see. I have to orient myself. There's Donetsk. Here's Novomikhailivka. Where was Avdiivka? Donetsk. Anyway, down here. Anyway, he was supposed to be sent there, and now they've sent him all the way across. And the last I heard, Tony, you're in Zaporizhia and being sent somewhere on the Zaporizhia line, which is very interesting, because first you were being sent to kind of reinforce this, and what that tells me is that Ukraine has, the orcs are pushing here real hard. Oh, here's Avdiivka. I'm sorry, it's north of Donetsk. For some reason, I was thinking it was south of Donetsk. So the orcs are pushing here real hard. I think this is shored up now. They've gotten as far as they're going to get, arguably. At least for now, let's hope. And the fact that you're being sent somewhere else, I would like to believe that what that means is that Ukraine is planning an attack somewhere else to pull orc resources out of this area, off the front lines in the east, over to some area over here. That's my hope, because this is let's just say maybe relatively quiet. Of course, not in the where we had the offensive in Robotyne. That's pretty dangerous right now. But it would be really nice if Ukraine opened up something here, or dare I say it, something across what used to be this lake. In this general area. What used to be Lake Kakhovka. I mean, it's still listed as a lake. It's no longer a lake. This this satellite picture is not accurate anymore. Okay, it's a river as thin as this river here. So, in my mind, I don't think Tony would like to do this. Yeah, Chasiv Yar, you're right, Cheryl. Chasiv Yar is having trouble, and just so you know, guys, we are supporting one unit in the Chasiv Yar area. And in fact, I want to show you this. So the other day, I put up on the website these mags because somebody who's out in the Chasiv Yar area in the Alpha Company 1st Battalion, their International Legion, said they really needed mags. Okay, thanks, Tony. And so I put it up on the site, and somebody ordered 8 mags. Like, boom. So thank you very much to that person. I can't remember the name of the person, but I believe it was the guy who was, oh my gosh, what was his name? He was traveling from Ukraine into Poland on the train at the time using a VPN to connect to my live stream. Pretty funny, actually, that he was even able to. Yeah. Anyway, so these 8 mags are going out today, along with. So they came in yesterday, and they're going out today along with. Here you go. Check them out. Boom, boom. They're going to go out along with some tourniquets and some of the. We're going to send him a package of baby wipes. And however many baby wipes are ordered, I'm going to send those too. And however many tourniquets are ordered, I'm going to send those too. So if you guys, like I said, they're going to go out today. I'm going to order them all at once, one big bulk order. So if you guys want to order anything off of here right now, yeah, big old pack of baby wipes, some tourniquets. The other thing, I know I've been talking about this for freaking weeks, but I'm getting ready to order this, and so these are, I mean, the prices are all over the place. I set the price at about $600 for a set of 2, but I think, I mean, I have to be careful because I need to make sure it's high quality and all of that. But I think I can find these on sale here in Ukraine for half price. So if I can get another like $20 for current ceramic plates, I was so close on Saturday. I spent like 2 hours trying to squeeze it into my budget to get 2 sets of ceramic plates, because I've got enough. The reason I'm doing that is because I've also got enough to buy 2 plate carriers. Why get plates without a plate carrier, right? Why get a plate carrier without plates? And so I'm just squeezing it in there. You find these things on sale sometimes. So anyway, yeah. So that's the update there. Yeah, I've got eight of these mags that are going out. What I prefer to do is have them sent directly to the soldiers. Yeah, like I don't even touch them. They can just be sent directly. It's called drop shipping. But in this case, like if I did that, then they would have had to have paid like COD at the post office, and I'm not going to have that. So I had to have them sent to me first, which makes kind of a delay, but whatever. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Man. So just lots of things I want to talk about. I want to talk about this whole issue with freaking WebEx and Germany, right? It's crazy. Like the fact that, I mean, as a WebEx technician, I've always thought to myself, like, wow, I could just call, think about this. Like if any of you who've ever been in a business, like if you get a WebEx email invite. Let's just see and take a look at what one looks like, you know. And I know it's been announced how this actually happened, but so here you go. You get your email invite. Here, come on, let's just show this in new tab. Okay. You get your email invite, and this number here where it says global call-in numbers, okay, that can be static or it can be random. But regardless, if somebody else by chance has access to your email, and we know email is not very secure, somebody has access to your email, they could just call in, and you have no way. It's not like in like Zoom, for example, where there's no phone number you can call in. If somebody pops into the meeting, you can see them. Or I mean, if they're not sharing their screen, or if they don't have their camera on, fine. But you'll see them and say, "Hey, what's going on here?" In WebEx and these older systems, like anybody could be joining in. Now, I understand the situation actually is that the German commander in question was in a hotel in Singapore. Let's see. German hotel, Singapore. Let's see. Ukraine. Yeah. So here we go. Berlin. Go away. Berlin blames Taurus call Econ officer logging in via insecure Singapore hotel line. So it was at like a SIP phone system, and the phone system was bugged. Well, of course it's going to be bugged in just a random hotel. So it just shows you how unprepared Europe is for this whole thing, you know? And I just like Silicon Curtain's quote here. If you want the Kremlin to take something seriously, give it to the Germans and tell them it's a secret. It'll be on every desk in the Kremlin the next morning. So that's an old Cold War saying, as I understand. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I this article right here, I wanted to talk about. I know that I put it to my community tab, and I wanted to say you may ask why this is relevant to Ukraine. Okay, so this is the title of the article is "Young Hong Kongers Who Defied Xi Are Now Partying in China." Yeah, a record number of residents are flocking to Shenzhen for cheap food and a good time, accelerating an integration once rejected by the city's freedom-loving youth. And then so the quote down here is, "Hong Kong used to have freedom," said Leung, who asked to use only her last name because she joined what authorities deemed as illegal protests. Now it's lost all that. So why wouldn't I go to mainland China, where at least things are cheaper? Salty Red, thanks for coming. Thank you. So why is this relevant? Well, because this is what Russia envisions for Ukraine. This is what Russia believes will happen in Ukraine. They believe that once Ukraine just finally gives up and Russia takes over, and Medvedev with his map, right? Once this happens, this thing, this crazy map that Medvedev presented, it's just crazy. It looks like something out of some video game that I've played, like what is it called? Crusader Kings 3 or something like that. I can't remember. Where the map just goes crazy and like Afghanistan takes over the world or something. Uh, But this is, for some reason, this is how they saw this. This is how they see this war ending up. And they think that once they are able to do this, Ukrainians will all just say, oh, well, I guess we don't have freedom anymore, so let's just go have cheap stuff in Moscow or whatever, you know. That's not going to happen. The only people who will give in here in Ukraine are the old people, or at least, people over the age of 50. Maybe if you count my wife, maybe over the age of 40. People who were raised up in at least partially raised up in the Soviet Union, so they, it's like an old shoe. It stinks, but it fits good, right? So that's what they think is going to happen, and it's not. It's just not. The percentage of Ukrainians who are. So I just want to introduce you to a Ukrainian meme. Ždun. This is Ždun. Homunculus loxodontus. This is actually a sculpture in Belgium, I believe. But for some reason here in Russia, first of all, I'm talking like 10 or 15 years ago, and in Ukraine, this is called Ždun, and it's a meme that people use. And the metaphor that it's used for here in Ukraine is, this is the person waiting for the Russians. This is what Ukrainians think of those people here in Ukraine. Most of them are older, not all of them, but the majority. And it's depending on where you go in the country, like obviously in Donetsk, Luhansk, those areas, it's closer to 25 or even 30%. But in some places, even, in, for example, where I was living in the Zakarpattia, see this purple territory? Sorry, there's purple and then there's violet. Let's call it violet. In that violet area, that's where I was living until just recently. And, there's people even there who they are Zheduns. And they just think that Pyotr is going to come and restore the communist empire. And that's what they want. That's what they believe in. That's what they think is going to happen. Just to give you an example, let's see if I can find it here. I wanted to respond to something. Oh yeah, here we go. So this is
Verbovets lies.
This is a video by the Voice of America. Okay, and this village here, I've passed through that village probably 25 times on my way to, on my way to some other part of Zakarpattia. So this is the quote unquote Hungarian, and when they say Hungarian, it's about 50% Hungarian part of Ukraine, and so this lady here, she has a Hungarian passport. Her name, as you can see, it's basically a Hungarian name. But they don't want Hungary to take over. They don't want this. They don't want that. They don't want to be necessarily part of the EU. Why? Because it's cheaper to live in Ukraine. It's cheaper to be a part of Ukraine. They have lower taxes, all of that. Now, the main thing that she is complaining about, now notice older woman, older person, okay? The main thing she's complaining about is that they don't, it's poverty. They don't have good jobs. They don't have enough money. You know what? This is like every small town in America. She could be a Trump voter. Oh, you really like the logo? Oh, thank you. I'm still thinking about modifying it slightly just to make the tree, especially the bottom of the tree, stand out more. Salty red, but thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's me working with paint, okay? So but I just wanted to show you that this is I mean, I was looking for me in here. Like this, I'm like, wow, am I in this picture? This is literally the city where I was just living for on and off for the past year. Okay. Um, and they, even this video, I know it's in no way is it anti-Ukraine or anything, but they really present this idea that that there was ever any sort of like, if you go to this city that's presented in this video, um, Ukrainian, all the signs are in Ukrainian and Hungarian, or actually more Russian and Hungarian. Yeah, Salty Red. I'm gonna have to work on that. It's on the. I'm still working on it. um, yeah, exactly. Well, Magyar, the Magyars is what the Hungarians call themselves for the most part. But yeah, I mean, I walked up and down these streets many, many times, and this, you know, here we can just, I'll just do a little. If you go back and look through my short videos, you'll see that I took a lot of videos of this. But the point is that the public complaints that are being made by Hungary, by Orban, they're just not true. They're just not true, and especially in this part of Ukraine. By the way, if you look back in the background there, those are the government offices, that white building with the Ukrainian flag. And I don't even think people speak Ukrainian in those offices. They speak either Hungarian or Russian. So to say that, oh, they're forcing Ukrainian on us it's just ridiculous. It's just the same as the culture wars in America, where politicians, particularly right-wing politicians, Republicans, use things like, trans people are taking our children. They're not going to let us speak English in schools anymore. That's crap. It's bullshit. It's just bullshit. The children in this part of Ukraine, they all speak Hungarian. They're taught Hungarian in schools. Okay. But this map that Medvedev produced, it shows you how Russians think. They're thinking with this 19th century concept of like Romania and Poland. They're part of NATO, and they're going to take over Ukraine as a part of NATO, as a part of the EU. Like, they're going to violate NATO and EU laws to aggressively occupy another country. Like, it just shows you how screwed up Russia's thinking is here. And I don't care if they have 145 million people. It will take that many for Russia to cross this territory. Even if Ukraine gets not one more shell from the West, Okay? Not one more shell from the West. It will take 145 million Russians for them to take this territory. Just for them to take this. Absolutely, without a doubt. I guarantee you, somebody do the math on how many they've lost just to take Avdiivka. It'll be Avdiivka after Avdiivka after Avdiivka. And yeah, Ukrainians will die too. But the ratio will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 1. You know? And especially now that finally, Ukraine is digging in and making proper defenses across this whole territory. And it's my hope that, I mean, Ukraine should just have defenses all the way, all the way to the Dnipro. You know, every kilometer, trench. You know, it in online strategy games, we call it walling. You know, in some of these online strategy games, you can build like walls or defensive barriers, and you just wall. You have no army, just walls. It's kind of the same thing, and that's at least until Ukraine can get the shells and the offensive weaponry that it needs. Right. Russians use the populations of conquered territories to fight their wars. And that's the point I was trying to make here. That's what Russia thinks it's going to be able to do. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. They're not going to be able to do it. Okay. So, okay. I think this is significant, even though toothless. The UN is doing something in the International Criminal Court. So this is the first of what I hope will be many arrest warrants issued for these generals who have and continue to target Ukrainian civilians. I think that this is great. I mean, it basically means that for the rest of their lives, these generals cannot leave Russia. They can't go on vacation. They can't, go to Spain. They can go to Crimea. Let them go to Crimea. That's a great idea. They want to take a vacation. Yeah. So, I think this is a good statement. Now, I haven't checked this article, but 1420 Daniil said the EU paid more money to Pyotr than it gave to Ukraine. So in the first year of the war, and I've seen these statistics before, and this is based on oil and gas revenue. Okay. In the first year of the war, the EU paid more money to Pyotr than it gave to Ukraine in 2 years. So we can argue that Europe is finally waking up to this fact, to these facts that they have, and I've talked about this already, that they have been prolonging the war and making it worse for themselves by not cutting Pyotr off. Yeah. You're right. As Jonathan, you said, I think they should extend it to soldiers. I think that they will. I think they'll start with the generals, with the convictions, and they'll just go down the hierarchy, and then generals, and then colonels, and then freaking lieutenants, sergeants. I guess, does Russia really have sergeants? I don't think. Now the Russians are trying to take areas around Georgian territory. Are we talking about, Tony? Are we talking about in Georgia? I mean, I know that Russia has occupied Georgian territory, about 20% of Georgian territory, and what they're doing in Georgia is they are slowly creeping, kind of like creeping the border along, like just coming out at night and moving the fence, of the Russian occupied territory in Georgia. And the thing is, the Georgian government is actually pro-Russian. The people are not, but due to oligarchy, due to money in politics and unfair elections, remind you of any place we know. Due to rich people dominating the politics, Georgia is controlled by Putler. Okay, have I covered everything in my that I wanted to do from this list? Oh, I'm so glad I kept on checking. This right here. I really like this. I don't always agree with things he says, but this channel. That's interesting. KK's GG. I saw that even some in Abkhazia are not wanting them to move their Black Sea base to that side of the sea. Yes, that's right. Yeah, Georgia is they're protesting the Russians moving their base to Russian-controlled territory in Georgia. Because, for one thing, they know that that's going to get bombed or droned by the Ukrainians. But anyway, so this channel, Russia's Suffering in Ukraine, I think it's a wonderful title. I honestly, I very rarely watch their videos, but I do keep track of their community posts, and I just like some of the things that they share. Sometimes I disagree, but this right here, right? So let's just take a look. How I'm just finally, I like to see. Oh boy, Cheryl, I need to do a talk about China and Bhutan. I mean, I'm hoping that India. God, it sucks. We're really staring down the barrel of a world war here, because once this thing gets opened up with the UN being so inept and powerless, now all these countries that want larger countries that want to take over smaller countries are going to do that, and that's exactly what China's doing in Bhutan. And who's going to get involved to stop that? India. Now we have a world war on our hands. That's what's happening. That's what's happening before our eyes. And it's happening because America and the EU did not provide the weapons that Ukraine needed. I was listening to an interview just yesterday on Ukraine the Latest with a Ukrainian reporter for the Kyiv Independent, I believe. And she was like, yeah, we really believe that we were going to get all the weapons we needed from the West in the first year, and we were going to drive the Russians out, and the war was going to be over by the end of 2022. Like, they really believed. I didn't, because I was like, I know my country too well. But Ukrainians didn't, and they thought that they were going to get everything that we promised. When we said, oh, we're going to send you weapons, we're going to send you missiles, they thought that meant enough missiles to do the things that they needed. And instead, we have 3,700 tanks in storage. We've sent 31. What? Are you telling me we actually need that many tanks in storage? We have 2,000 Bradleys in storage. And I'm not counting the active ones, the ones that are actively being used. We could send them the active ones and take the other ones out of storage. 8,000 M113s, 8,000 armored personnel carriers in storage. And we've sent them 300? I thought we had sent them like more than 1,000 of these M113s. But no, just 300? these things are being decommissioned. Like, we're getting rid of them. We don't even use them anymore. We should send all of them, like literally all of them. 13,000 APCs. Go. Go. Because, I mean, let's not even get started about the Humvees that we have. Like something like 40,000 freaking Humvees. Are you telling me we can't send them 10, 15,000? You know? I mean, yes, obviously artillery makes a difference, but what kind of thunder runs could they have done if they had, 5,000 M113s, 1,000 tanks, 2,000 Bradleys? You know? I mean, it's shocking to me. It's shocking. Like, what the hell? I'm angry. Damn it. 100 HIMARS. Why couldn't we do that? Right? June 22. Thank you, Cheryl, for posting this. In June 22, Ben Hodges said Ukraine needed 100 HIMARS to hold the ground, 500 to take back the territory. Yeah. And they've got 38? Is that a joke? It's a joke. It's literally a joke. And to be honest with you, if Biden just said, screw it, I'm sending everything, make a decisive, strong step, people would really get behind him in the election. Even Republicans would really get behind that. Even if you have to defy Congress to do it, people would really get behind that in America. And yet he's like, oh, I don't know, don't want to make the Russians mad. And EU is the same. They're already mad. They already have this plan. And you can't even see the rest of the map here. You can't even see the rest of the map where they've taken over Lithuania and the Suwalki Gap. And, okay. My God. Here we are. All right. Let's talk about some things that are going on in Ukraine to give you kind of a picture of what the world looks like from within Ukraine. Yeah. Because I think some important things are happening here. This is happening. Yeah. So heretofore, Ukraine has been telling people, don't come back, stay abroad, the missiles are too dangerous. And now Ukraine is planning to implement, or at least proposing to implement, programs supporting refugees coming back to Ukraine. This is a really important thing. Now, I don't recommend, I don't think that European countries should cut support for refugees, or that I mean, America doesn't have a lot of Ukrainian refugees, or Great Britain either, which is very sad. But a lot of Ukrainians want to return, but man, like, it's expensive to pick up your whole life and move again. A lot of them have come back, but this is really important from the standpoint of increasing tax revenues and supporting the government and just general society. Okay. Getting people back. And I understand that a lot of people are just not going to come back because they've set up their lives now completely outside the country and they're never coming back. But a lot of them have. A large percentage has. And so I think this is a good positive step. Yeah. Another good positive step that's happening is this. So the government is working on a new reservation system. No, it's not about Indian reservations. It's not about reservations. It's about people who don't have to go to war because their jobs are considered specifically necessary for enterprises, critical infrastructure, or sectors of critical needs of the economy. So they don't want to be necessarily drafting people who are doing work that is necessary for the country to run and necessary to support the economy. So there has to be a careful balance about that. A big resistance that people have had against the draft, or what they call mobilization, in the big resistance that people have had against the mobilization in Ukraine is they've said, and I mean, my wife has said this, and I've heard this from my students. Well, why should we go to war when the rich people can just pay money and they don't have to go? You know, so because that was a proposal at the beginning was, hey, you can pay money and you don't have to go to war. So these oligarchs and things here, I mean, understand, Ukraine has a flat tax system. Okay. A flat tax system means that it doesn't matter how much money you make, you pay the same. There's no tax brackets here, there's no income tax brackets. Okay. So, uh, you know, the oligarchs, the rich don't have to pay their debt to society here. And I think that's going to change. I hope that's going to change, especially as Ukraine gets closer to joining the EU. But right now, of course, as as with the United States democracy, the rich largely control the government still, and the rich people don't want to pay their fair share. Sound like any place we know, right? So, but that's a regressive tax system. Precisely correct. Regressive because, of course, they don't have sales tax, but they have VAT, value added tax, which is arguably a regressive system. So, but okay, be that as it may, they're trying to figure this out. They're doing it as a democracy. It's still a good thing. It's not a perfect democracy, but it's there. So I think that the government is saying they're going to need about 37 billion total just to run the country. Okay. And what that means is that then billion covers the functioning of the government and infrastructure. Right. So because they pay more taxes into the economy. You mean rich people? The problem is they pay a lower percentage rate than your average poor person. I mean, that's true in America too, and there's so many tax loopholes that, just like in America, big companies like Amazon and things pay, $1 in taxes a year, that type of stuff, that type of shenanigans. I mean, I believe in what Jesus said. If you're a Christian, you should pay taxes and you should believe in taxes, because Jesus said, give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Jesus was in favor of paying taxes. So, oh, hey, Leo Mora, do we have a troll? Do we have a Russian troll in our chat today? Yeah, right, Cheryl. Yeah, they hide their money abroad. A lot of the oligarchs here in Ukraine still have Russian passports. They're still doing business across Russia. Thank you, Leo, for coming. I appreciate you being here. I love it when Russian trolls visit. Great. Fantastic. Okay. Leo, be sure to go back and watch the earlier parts of my stream, because I was giving away some OPSEC that you might want to feed up to your FSB agents, you know. So make sure you go back and watch the whole stream. Also, tell your orc friends, you know, tell your FSB controllers that that's mainly what I do here. Is I like to give out you know, operational security information to you guys. So be sure to, you know, tell everybody to watch it real closely. And make lots of comments. Make sure you do that too. Just so you know, Leo, I delete all comments on my on the video, but for the most part, if you comment here in the stream, you can comment as much as you want, and I don't care. Just so you know. Yeah. Oh, and make sure you share this with as many people as you can. You might have to watch the video several times though to find the OPSEC that I've, you know, because I've hidden little gems of information. So make sure you go back and watch it at least 4 or 5 times. Watch all my live streams 4 or 5 times, because you'll, oh yeah, lots of secrets. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, what was I talking about? So here's a big thing, right? I think this is amazing. This is amazing news. Yeah, just be sure to like and subscribe. You can unlike too. You can dislike. That's okay. It doesn't actually make a difference to the algorithm how much you like. And sometimes subscribing can be a bad thing. Anyway, this is a big deal. So if you're a Republican, okay, and you're like, I want small government, right? Well, guess what? Ukraine is doing just that. I mean, so Ukraine has a huge bureaucracy, a massive, and every Ukrainian complains about the bureaucracy here. If you want to get anything done, you have to have everything signed in triplicate by 5 different offices, and they physically have to have these papers, you know, that look like medieval scrolls, basically. Oh God, it's ridiculous. It's like the DMV, but everywhere, you know. And it's just the inheritance of communism, you know. And in many ways, it's just jobs programs for people who they kept their job all the way through communism, and just they're still working in their little ministry of whatever. And so this is great. All right. They're working on reducing the number of ministries by 1/3. They've got 20,000 vacancies that they've already cut. So there, is there I bet there is. There probably is a minister of funny walks. Exactly. Yeah. There probably is. Every Ukrainian complains about this. So, like, you know, why are the Republicans going to Orban? They should be looking at. They're like, oh, small government. You know, they should be looking at Ukraine as the model for reducing bureaucracy through the digitalization projects that they're doing here. You know, they're merging the Ministry of Infrastructure and the Ministry of Local Government. You know, they're working really hard on that, and I for one appreciate it. I think it's awesome. I think it's really awesome. I'm a small government Democrat, I guess. This is an old article, but I just didn't get a chance to talk about it. This is from last month, but so this is so they have this anti-corruption agency, the NACP, right? National Agency for Corruption Prevention. Okay. And they also have a National Anti-Corruption Bureau. Isn't that amazing? Like, what if we had that in America? I mean, I know we have the FBI, but arguably, historically speaking, the FBI has caused corruption as much as it's, I mean, I'm talking about like J. Edgar Hoover stuff, you know. Yeah. So, sorry. I have something in my eye. I think it's a finger. Okay. Sorry. um but yeah, so National Agency for Corruption, the guy who is appointed to the National Agency of Corruption as the head was a detective in the National Anti-Corruption Bureau. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Here's an interesting thing, though. According to Ukrainian law, and this is a very interesting thing. According to Ukrainian law, the selection panel that chose this guy, Pavlushchik, I think that's correct. The selection panel that chose Pavlushchik included 3 experts nominated by the Ukrainian authorities and 3 experts nominated by Ukraine's international partners. Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. Citizens United. That's right. It was enshrined in law now. So, and according to the law here in Ukraine, if the votes were split evenly between Ukrainian and international experts, the foreign ones' votes prevailed, and that's exactly what happened. So this is how important anti-corruption is to the Ukrainian people. They don't even trust their own people in their own government. Like, you know, this is what not trusting your government means. It doesn't mean appointing a dictator to run everything. It means having outside observers, okay, who are also anti-corruption, who will, you know, make sure that your country is not corrupt. It's like having election observers. Exactly the same thing. Plus, they had to pass all these other tests, blah blah blah. So I've been wanting to talk about this for like 2 weeks now, and I just think it's an amazing little story. Just a little note in the story that is really important. Can you imagine America doing that? Can you imagine America having an anti-corruption, you know, agency? I mean, we have the Consumer Protection Bureau, but it's been gutted by Congress, and they fought that tooth and nail. But this has teeth. And can you imagine America saying, "Okay, we're going to have outside observers who are going to be able to, you know, vote who gets to." I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. All right. I think this is an important thing to talk about. I don't think it's a huge issue for anyone, but it needs to be said that Zelensky's term officially ends in May 20th, 2024. Okay. And there was no election. Necessarily, there was no election. Okay. It's not corruption. It's because of the fact that 20% of the country is occupied. These people can't vote. The people who are outside of Ukraine, you know, the displaced refugees are going to have a very difficult time voting, and it's a huge expense for the country to be able to vote. KK's GG. That's funny. Okay. So yeah. So this is a thing. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I hope it's not going to be an issue, but you know, when I see this, the president's office is considering filing a request with the Constitutional Court, including a submission for the official interpretation of the Constitution's provision. And I'm thinking about my own country's, Constitutional Court and what crazy shenanigans they are pulling right now. And so it makes me nervous, but I just have to remind myself that no, it's going to be fine. Zelensky's going to be president. It's going to be fine. Nobody worships him here. We just recognize the fact that we can't have an election right now in the middle of a freaking war. Another thing that I really want to talk about here is this. So this is how, and I don't know, maybe you guys think that I should just talk about, like, here's what happened on the front. And look, we can talk about maps and look at battle stuff. There's other channels that are doing a way better job of that than me. Okay. Way better job, and watch them. I'm trying to present you with something that you wouldn't get from them, So this is important, right? It's very interesting. And I've talked about this before. I talked about this last stream. Ukraine is talking about what are they going to do with the veterans? How are they going to support the veterans coming back currently and in the future? So the head of the Ministry of Finance, he says, my position is that I am against benefits. That's a very interesting statement, right? So in other words, what he does, this is just part of the debate that's going on. And I've heard this from other, thanks, KK's GG guy. Yeah, I would have to spend my whole day just, figuring out what's going on the battle. Nobody's talking about these things, right? And these things are just as important to, it's like another whole part of the war. It's very important. And this is very important from the position of when we're talking about the mobilization, the draft here in Ukraine that is going to happen. This is a piece of it. Is people are thinking to themselves, well, if I get injured, if I get hurt, or, after I'm done fighting, what's going to happen to me? And there's a really bad stigma of here in Ukraine of veterans being, not getting services, not getting help, being just alcoholics and abusers and committing suicide. And, we're talking about the legacy of World War II here, where after World War II, the ratio of men to women in Ukraine was like 8-1. Women to men in Ukraine, 8-1. 8, and still to this day, I believe. Well, not now. Now that a lot of the women have left and are now refugees outside the country. But so what they're talking about here is not just handing people money. Say, oh, you fought in the war, here's some money, you can sit at home now and drink vodka. Okay. They're saying, let's provide veterans with development tools. So I think and I hope that this will mean GI Bill type stuff. Yeah, Jonathan. Yeah, you should have been here in like the 19th. Well, no, you wouldn't want to be here in the 1950s, but it was good times if you were a man. And that tradition to some degree continued, and I think that's why people like jackasses like but just before the war, I'm trying to say like three things at once here. Before the war, a lot of the Americans that I knew here, I really didn't like them very much because they were basically like extreme right-wing red pillars who were coming to Ukraine to pick up women because of that historical thing. Because, the odds are good. We're good. That's not why I came to Ukraine. But a lot of people here in Ukraine have the assumption that like I met some Ukrainian woman online or I came here to find, whatever, blah. I mean, I did get married eventually here. Anyway, be that as it may. So this is important. So they haven't, they're thinking along in the right in the right way. I think they're talking about, I mean, they're going to have to give some benefits, but they need to when veterans come back from the war, whatever the problems they have, they're going to need support, yes, but they're also going to need opportunity. Gonzalo Lira, thank you, Cheryl. I was trying to remember that, and I guess I just blocked that ass wipe out of my mind. So he doesn't even deserve one of these. My OPSEC wet wipes. Doesn't even deserve one of these. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, these are good things. These are positive things about Ukraine that I want to talk about. Yeah. This is just a brief thing. Ukraine is really, really working on exposing corruption and, focusing on the rule of law, to the point of this, cutting down trees. And you guys may remember the great, I'm sure you remember the great toilet construction escapade. And a big part of the problem was I couldn't buy wood because, like, wood of appropriate. What I found now is that because most of Europe spent the last 1,000 years cutting down all its forests, there are forests here in Ukraine, but the trees are too young to cut down. And so it's illegal to cut down most of the forests because they're trying to grow bigger forests and have more forests. So anyway, Ukraine's fighting corruption. Okay, guys. Let's talk a little bit about what the orcs are doing here. So, in the place where I lived, Transcarpathia, or in Ukrainian, it's pronounced Zakarpattia. Zakar means trans, Carpathia means Carpathia. So, Transcarpathia, so that's the Hungarian part of Ukraine, like we were talking about. A big area for guys who don't, they're afraid that they're going to have to join the army. When I last fall. Oh, hey Sally. I'm sorry you got the oh my gosh, what time is it there, man? Is it like midnight already in Ohio? Anyway, thanks for coming. Yeah. KK's GG. Yeah, I'd rather be one of those. Imagine you couldn't earn a living in a career of your choice because whoever heard of a lady blank, whatever. One real important thing about Ukraine that I always found to be quite stunning, especially coming from Silicon Valley as I did, was when you walk into 90% of offices in Ukraine, it's mostly women, and I don't mean just secretaries. They're in every role, managers. Maybe not. I mean, I would say not as many programmers or engineers, but much more than in the United States. A lot of in Ukraine, we joke that Ukraine is a matriarchy, and I mean it comes from that tradition going back to post-war of there were no men, so women did all the jobs, and that tradition just kind of continued. Unfortunately, it also means that men in Ukraine before the war had a little bit of a reputation for being mama's boys and for just, living with their mother, never having a job. Oh yeah, so I'm on now. I'm live streaming 2 days a week now. I had to cut it down because I just wasn't able to teach my classes properly. So I'm 2 days a week. So what is it in America right now? Is it Tuesday night? So Tuesday nights in America and Friday nights in America. That's when I'm doing it. Yeah, that seems to be a good number. Anyway, thank you for coming. So this Transcarpathia area was a big area for these guys trying to escape, getting drafted. And like when I took a bus from. By the way, if you're trying to dox me, that's not where I live. But I took a bus from this city right here, Kolomia, to this where you see the green flags over here, Barehova. So from here to here, and it's not very far. It's just over the mountains essentially, and it took 11 hours. It took 11 hours because it went along this road right here, and some parts of this road run right along the Romanian and then later on Hungarian border. Well, pretty close anyway. And so this is like I stopped counting. We got stopped I stopped counting after the 6th time we got stopped. Our bus was stopped for checkpoints, and these young soldiers coming on to our bus, checking everyone's passports, and they were so confused by my American passport. Most of them had never seen an American passport before. They couldn't believe it, and they would start asking me a bunch of questions in Ukrainian or Russian or whatever, and I would be like, "Nie rozumію, nie rozumію," which means I don't understand. And so pretty much because everybody on the bus just wanted to like get where we were going, they all started like explaining me to the guards, like, Amerikanets, which means American, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, I tried to start earlier today and there was some problem with my streaming software. Logging in, it never did let me log in under my usual profile, and I had to log in through a third profile. And oh god, yeah, if you're working landscaping, dude, you got to be up early. So thanks for coming, Jonathan. I understand for sure. So but we're going to keep going for a little bit here because I want to talk about what's happening is that so not just here along the border, but also if we go back to, this whole area right here, Ukrainian men are illegally crossing the border or basically just hiding out in Moldova. And they are being actively recruited by the FSB, the Russian KGB, effectively. So this is a big problem. They're using compromat. They're using some of these people maybe they do support Russia. The people who are hiding out, especially in Transnistria, where Russia has full reign in those areas. So this this is a big problem. More importantly, this is a very interesting article. Polish farmers realized that Russian special services were using them. And it's very interesting because now I read that the Polish farmers are being more careful to not make overtly pro-Russian statements to the media and have overtly pro-Russian signs, you know? So basically the FSB agents who are, sponsoring them and organizing them are saying, okay, don't be so obvious, you know? But, it's still going on. They're just trying to disrupt the Ukrainian economy and disrupt, like with the damn freaking magnets that I had to go to a completely different part of Ukraine to be able to send, you know, because I didn't want the the stuff that I'm sending to people outside of Ukraine. So just, if you're watching and you don't know, I have this website. You can support me. You can support. Obviously, this is support directly to Ukrainian units. This supports me and just the general ZSU. So 50% of what you purchase here goes to the ZSU. 50% goes to help basically support my channel and the work that I'm doing. I'm also I just put a bunch of magnets on here, but I'm also going to add. I want to show this. Check this out. These really cool like phone or laptop stickers that I think are just awesome, and they're all made here in Ukraine. Yeah, I bought. There's 3 different ones, and I'm going to put them up on. And you get 2 sets of stickers here. I'm going to put them up, and then you'll be able to order them. And it takes me. I talk about this stuff, and it takes me like a month of talking about it before I actually do it. But I'm going to do it. So look for that when it happens. But in any case, I had a hell of a time sending the first set of magnets, but I figured it out now, and they have gone through. They are in, as far as I know, they are in. They are in the United States and Great Britain. I think they've actually gotten to their destination now. I sent people. I even, you get tracking information and all that jazz. So super cool stuff. Okay. I mean, this is a good thing, right? Tusk proposes to completely ban the import of Russian and Belarusian products to the EU. So this is important because, partly because of this situation, and I don't have the article in front of me from Ukrainska Pravda. Oh yeah, here we go. This is from European Pravda. Anyway, the Ukrainian journalists, due to these protests, these Russian organized protests blocking Ukrainian aid, Ukrainian journalists have been going to Poland and finding all of the trade and that's coming from Russia and Belarus into Poland, and saying, "Wait a minute, you guys are letting in all the Russian grain and blocking the Ukrainian grain? That doesn't make much sense." And even last week, the Polish police arrested the Ukrainian journalists from this particular newspaper who were investigating this exact issue, and so I think in partly as a result of that, this has been exposed, and so now the ostensibly pro-Ukrainian government of Poland has had to say, okay, so we're going to. Now they haven't done it. I'm always reluctant to report on these articles where they're saying, oh, so and so proposed to do this. Doesn't mean that they've done it. It means they're just making the proposal about it. So I mean, this is the problem, right? When we're talking about like weapons, coming to Ukraine, when we're talking about this stuff that should have come to Ukraine already, the problem is what we see is we see three reports. We see this country is proposing to do something, and you get like 5 of those proposals, and then this country is doing it, and it's always much less than what they had proposed. And then, so that's they have no, they're not doing it. They have approved doing it, giving the money or giving the weapons. Yeah, giving it lip service, right? And then you get the article about such and such country has done this thing. So you have at least minimum 3 articles in the news media describing, like, for instance, this one. Okay, this is all in the media. So I mean, this is a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. It's great. France will join the Czech Republic. Canada's on board, and all these other countries. And yet, the impression that this gives people, the people who aren't necessarily really paying attention, the impression that this gives people is like 3 times more aid has gone to Ukraine than has actually gone. Even I thought we'd gotten more APCs to Ukraine than this lousy 300, because it's been announced so many freaking times about this proposal and that proposal, but it never actually happened. Or when it finally did happen, it's like a pittance of what they had proposed. So I really wish that the media would just stop reporting on the freaking talk. Yeah, exactly, Sally. I mean, they're going to look back on this and say, "Oh gosh, I guess it was a bad idea to let all that Russian oil and gas and grain and yada yada vodka through. I guess we were just giving money to our enemy, helping them build tanks that are, when Russia, they're going to wake up when Russia attacks NATO directly." And to be perfectly honest, that's going to happen. Okay, that's going to happen. So I guess I don't have it. So let's see. Canada, troops, Ukraine. So all of these countries now, and this is a good thing. Okay. France, Canada, countries now unilaterally are proposing to send troops to Ukraine for non-combat roles. Okay. It's a step. Arguably, it's a step in the right direction. And it has an ending. It's guys, it's inevitable that it has to happen. It has to go this route. It has to go this way. I'm sorry. It has an ending, and the ending will be, if not NATO, then effectively NATO, armies of NATO countries in Ukraine, at least defending. Maybe it'll come to Ukrainians on the front lines here. Okay. Western countries, protecting with air defenses or whatever. They're talking about putting, Canadians and French and whatever on the border with Belarus. Okay. And basically manning air defense and missile systems, ground-based missile systems in general. And frankly, I don't see how they're going to be able to maintain F-16s without American troops on the ground here, or at least some countries that have F-16s with trained crews. There's no way it's going to happen. It's going to have to happen. And I'm really glad that Europe is finally waking up to this concept that, oops, well, we didn't, we basically spent the first 2 years of the war financing Russia's war, and now we have to pay more money and lives when they could have just sent this stuff like they should have in the beginning. Okay. Obviously, I think I'm coming to the end of our stream. There's a few other things I could talk about, but I want to talk about some good things. As we know, another Russian warship has been sunk, and a lot of people are reporting that the Kerch Bridge has been hit by a sea baby or something, a Ukrainian water-based drone. We don't have pictures yet that I know of. Live pictures. I guess the Kerch Bridge has been closed. Artur Rahe reported on it. Other people are reporting on it. Yeah, great, fantastic. It's closed to trains, train traffic apparently. Fantastic, great, loving it. I wanted to, I try to, like, just like other Ukrainian channels do. I like to end with something interesting and funny. So let me show you something interesting and funny. This. This is a Ukrainian. This is the webpage of a Ukrainian architecture firm. It happens to be a firm that I taught English to the CEO and most of their architects. Yeah, I don't know. It's unconfirmed, I think. I mean, Cheryl, we're not sure. Thanks, Salty Red. Thanks for coming. So if you want to know what this is, it's in Antarctica. Okay? It's in Antarctica. Right here. And they have these, buildings, penguins everywhere, which I think is kind of funny. Penguins are really cute until you look inside their mouth. Don't ever do a Google image search for penguin teeth, okay? It's a horror show. But so they basically took this, building in Antarctica, which is effectively a shipping container. And I have no idea. I mean, I haven't read the full text of this. So, all right, let me just get to it. It's pretty interesting. Let me just show you what they built. Let's go all the way to the end. Yeah. Here you go. So effectively they built kind of like a little bit of Ukraine. This is the outline of a standard, like, Ukrainian house. It's the standard Ukrainian architecture house. Mr. Squiggle, I have a Discord, but you have to join the you have to join the YouTube membership right now to be able to join the Discord. In other words, it's not a public Discord, it's a private Discord. That is to stop trolls, stop Russians from coming in to the Discord, because it's a security issue. The next thing I'm going to do, which I'm working on setting up this week, is if you buy something on the website to support, even, if you just contribute $1 to Ukraine in some way from the website, you will get a membership to the Discord. And unfortunately, like Catherine, that maybe that's why you can't see the Discord, because you had a membership, and then like the membership expired, the YouTube membership. The way once I get this set up here on the website on the Shopify. If you buy $1, contribute just $1 to Ukraine or something, then you'll have a permanent membership to the Discord. So it's my way of keeping some level of security. So I have, if you want to join in a in a discussion, we also have, there's a Facebook group, and that is open. You can join it. You do have to do like a little survey saying, like, why do you support Ukraine? And it's my test to see if you're a Russian bot or not, essentially. And I do have to approve you joining on the. I'm very security minded. Okay, that's what I would say about it, and I apologize for that. So anyway, it's an architectural company, and they built this thing in Antarctica. It's a little piece of Ukraine with a little museum of Ukrainian artifacts. It's just kind of a funny little thing that one of my students showed me, and I taught English to this architecture firm, and I didn't know that they had done this. This is pretty funny. That it's just a wireframe around the shipping container, but yeah, there you go. Yeah, so Catherine, maybe that's why you couldn't get on the. I apologize. Like I said, I'm working on it. I now I actually have Secular Sakai from Tridents Against Tyrants, and one of my friends who was on the live stream last week, like a long-term friend of mine who's an IT guy, helping me set up the Discord. And so, I mean, it is set up, but I mean, in terms of security and yep. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, no Facebook. Okay, right. I need to go to library and see if I can find something with a join button. Okay. Yeah, so you do have to connect your you have to connect YouTube to Discord, unfortunately. And so I will post a thing to our community tab showing people how to connect YouTube to Discord. But like I said, I'm going to get it set up so that once you have contributed something here, or if you've contributed in the past, like I know a lot of you, Catherine, Sally, you've contributed something in the past. Hey, Mary, thanks for coming. You'll get an email once I have this set up. You'll get an email. I think I'll have it in the next 2 weeks. You get an email, and you'll get an invite to the Discord, and then that will be a permanent membership onto the Discord. So yeah, there we go. Just a funny little story about a bunch of Ukrainians doing this crazy project. And this happened, I didn't know about this, but this happened in 2023, but it was started in like 2021. So like late 2021, and then took them through 2022. I mean, you can imagine going all the way to Antarctica, First, they had to do all this design work. Anyway, it's just a funny little story. If you want to go check it out, I've got it located on my community tab. So, just something interesting. So I think that, do I have anything else I need to talk about today? I think that's going to round out my stream today, guys. I'd like to thank everybody here. Thank everybody here for coming in. Mr. Squiggle, thank you for walking people through you're my tech support today, dude. I appreciate it, Right. It's, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I want to believe that the Kerch Bridge is gone, Yeah. Oh, okay, Sally, I see. Yeah. I'm sorry it's so damn difficult. I thought about not doing Discord and just going with Facebook for my community, thing, but I just feel like Discord has more options, more security options, and it's kind of like different layers. Like I have an outer circle and an inner circle. And by the way, if you guys go on there, you will see that I'm in the process. Please, it's right now it's a little bit of a mess in the Discord, but I am rebranding everything in there. And over the next, thank you, Catherine. Thanks for coming. I'm rebranding everything in the Discord to fit with the new theme. So yeah, so as opposed to just going with, you know, the Legion of Angels, International Legion, I'm going with a Lord of the Rings theme. And if you don't understand why, it's because we call them orcs, they call us elves. There's a whole lot of, I'm going to post a bunch of Lord of the Rings memes about Ukraine, because especially at the beginning of the war, there were a lot of them. And I think it's just a good way to differentiate, because there's like, it turns out that International Legion Auxiliary Corps was already used by like 5 other charities. And I want to work with them, and I have spoken to some of them, and we will cooperate and collaborate. But I wanted to, you know, just differentiate what I'm doing from that, you know. So yeah, so thank you all for coming. Thank you for saying it was an interesting stream, Catherine. I'm glad you were interested, and I just appreciate all of you for supporting Ukraine. And Heroem Slava. No, I've not solved the PayPal thing. It's next on my list. Oh, I'm so slow. I know. No, yeah, I have to have PayPal. They have to send me a new card. I have to reauthorize. It's because, to be honest with you, what's going on with PayPal is when I was traveling across Europe, back in 2019, I kept signing up for new accounts like PayPal, Wise, Payoneer, all of that stuff. And then because I lost my American bank card and my American bank wouldn't send me a new card. So I signed up with all of these services, and then I would sign up and get a card sent to me. But then after a couple of weeks, I would move to a new place and they couldn't get my mail forwarded to the new place. And so I had to cancel cards. I had like 3 different cards from 3 different banks or, you know, online bank things like that I had to cancel. And then they said, well, we're not going to send you any more cards. And then they're like, well, we're not going to do, you moved to Ukraine. We're not going to send you a card to Ukraine. So it's just a hassle that I have to go through. Yeah. So no, Mr. Swiggle, what is Nightbot? Is that in is that in Discord? I'm hoping, you know, within the next week with my new Discord people. I have a Discord team now, 3 people on it. That yeah, it was complicated, Mary. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't as easy as I hoped it would be. So right, can't send overseas, or they put a hold on it. Yeah, exactly, dude. American banks are in the freaking Stone Age. In the Stone Age, Ukrainians and oh, Dyakuyu, chai. Oh, compote. Sorry, my wife's mother just brought me Uzvar. Tak? Dyakuyu. Just brought me some nice warm Uzvar. It's like fruit. Anyway, okay, guys. Oh, really? One of the bots that works for me. Okay, I'll investigate it. Thank you, Sally. Nightbot. All right, I'm looking it up. Nightbot. Okay. Beautiful. I will check it out. Thank you very much. All right, guys. With that, I won't keep you guys up anymore. Thanks for coming. Slava Ukraine. Dobo Bachanya. See you Friday night.